What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Equip Live. My name is Will, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. And then if you're a new viewer, welcome to the show. So this show is all about everything Logitech for creators is doing. So we're talking about the blue microphones, the Mevos, the Lytra Glows. We've got the blue XLR microphones, basically everything behind me. Lots and lots of really cool things. And today we're going to be doing what we were hoping to do last week, but scheduling conflicts happen. But now we're finally doing it. We're going to do a great multicam demo today. Here's a nice little sneak peek. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So put your questions in chat if they're about the demo, if they're about anything Logitech for creators related, and we'll go over that as we're going through the show. But to kind of talk a little bit about the setup today, because it is kind of unique, let's go into what I am using, I guess, that you can see right now, and then we'll go into what I'm using with everything else, which you'll see in a little bit. All right, so I'm using a Mevos Start via wired webcam as usual. And then I'm using my Blue Baby Bottle microphone, also as usual. When you find a good setup, you don't always change it, right? I mean, we'd like to change it just to challenge ourselves, but overall, if it's working, try not to mess with it too much. Although, I guess I'm going to regret saying that in about 5 minutes. So, let's say hey to everybody real quick. TRS Blanks is just coming right out of the gate. The title of the show is How Many Mevos is Too Many? And TRS Blanks says a lot, which is very, very accurate. We've got from Pensacola, what's up? Just wanting to know when the update is being released for the mini cameras. So pretty soon. I'm not sure the exact date yet, but I think it's in the next week or two. But I'll figure that out for you. Zixie coming in from Orlando. Nice. I have been there, I think, once, but unfortunately not for a school trip. That sounds like a pretty awesome school trip. What's up, Virgil from Maryland? I lived in Maryland for the first few years of my life, and it's really nice. So congratulations on being in a good place. We've got Chow Down Food with a great little emoji there. It's a great reason to be on Twitch, by the way. In case you don't know, we're streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and you can find us Logitech for Creators on YouTube, Logitech C on Twitch, and then on Facebook, we're Mevo Camera. Pastor G. Blatz, blessings. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining me. Got a cool show today. I'm so used to saying thanks for joining us. I gotta fix that. Gordon, what's up on Twitch? I don't want to miss anything. You came in at a good time then, because we haven't quite started doing the potentially hazardous stream that we're about to try. What's up from Ryan from SoCal? Very, very nice. Loving SoCal. Cowley Storm Chasers in the house. What's up, Cowley? And I've got 6 Mevos. Wesley saying I've got 6 Mevos in OBS for streaming. That's awesome. Are you doing wired webcam mode, or are you doing NDI? And if you're using NDI, are you using HEVC or not? I'm very curious. What is up? Malcolm from India. Sorry. That's pretty cool. Now we're getting global here. Got 6 Mevos in OBS for streaming. Very, very nice. So today, there's a lot more hellos to do, but for today, we're gonna try and max out as many Mevos as we can. That being said, there can always be more. So if anybody passes the number of Mevos that I'm gonna use today on their own setup, then I will try and pass you up. So we can work together to try and do crazy things with the Mevo multicam app. Question coming in: will pan and zoom be incorporated on the camera panel versus having to open each camera? You know, this is something that's actually asked a lot. And unfortunately, right now, we don't know. It's something that we are looking at, but I don't know if it's going to be coming and if it's going to be coming soon or later. But I will say it would certainly be useful. The challenge is the output window in the multicam app is pretty tiny. So if you were to have the regular Mevo single camera app controls where you're just tapping and it zooms and whatnot, it would be not super accurate. That being said, it would be much faster. So hopefully we can do it. All right, let's see. What's going on, Chubbs? What up, Will? Never too many Mevos. You are very correct. NDI, no HEVC yet. Ran into issues when it first came out. Yeah, there were actually HEVC, especially on Mac, was tricky for a little bit in the beginning. And then on PC, you have to get a special decoder. So it's kind of a struggle to get it working in the beginning, but totally worth it. Stream Media Belgium is watching. Nice. What is up from... I'm over here in California right now. Yeah, well, but you know, crossing fingers and sacrificing a small goat to the demo gods today for this. Yes. All right. So, I do want to mention Wesley. What's up, Wesley? Saying 6 is a limit in OBS. It's struggling CPU-wise at 7. Yeah. If you're doing something where you're doing NDI or even wired webcam, it is going to take a decent amount of CPU. The great thing about doing it the way that I'm going to do it today is when you're using the multicam app, all of the hard work is done on the multicam app, and then you just send it to wireless webcam. So you can use 7 Mevos or more, and you're still going to use the same CPU as a single Mevo connected wireless webcam. So it's pretty sick. All right. Now you guys have waited long enough. Let's get into the demo. Okay. So first and foremost, let's talk about the hardware going on. This is an iPhone 13 Pro Max. So it is kind of the peak iPhone that you can get, and it is pretty solid. I like it a lot. I typically use tablets, but the tablet that I have is not very new. It's 2020. It's a 2020 iPad Pro. So it's a little bit less powerful. Actually, probably decently less powerful than like what Necromantia. Oh man, I hope I said that right. Is saying for their setup with the iPad Pro 12.9 inch 2021. So 2021, I believe, is when the M1 chips started going in the iPad. So it's a really, really strong and powerful processor that can do a lot. So you're on a good setup right there. Anyway, so I've got the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and then right now I've got 3 Mevos connected, and if you can see, I'm doing 480p as the input quality, and I'm also doing video source latency of high. And so the entire test, I mean, we can actually push it to ultra low later, but the reason I have high latency is because for this kind of use case, I don't need it to be really, really snappy. If you're using multicam like for Zoom or something like that, where you're talking back and forth with somebody, then you do want to have it on that ultra low latency. But just for this demo, I thought, why not save some bandwidth? And that's internal bandwidth, by the way. Okay, so 3 Mevos, and then this is going directly into Melon via OBS on a second computer. All right, so as you can see, everything is pretty smooth. The reason that I have all of these cameras are pointed at a TV is because the more movement, the harder it's going to be in terms of like how much bandwidth it needs. If I just had these cameras pointed at me, then they wouldn't really be pushed to the limit and it wouldn't be that fun. So we really want to make things difficult. So now let's load up more cameras. All right. Actually, should we load up more cameras and then adjust the resolution or change the resolution first? I guess let's load up more cameras and then we'll see how it reacts as we move up the resolutions. Okay, so right now we've got 11 Mevos being seen right now. I'm using one of them for the stream via wired webcam mode, like I mentioned in the beginning. What's up, Nazia? How's it going? No worries being late. We are just starting. All right, so let's start connecting more cameras. So as you can see, this is the new pop-up. If you haven't already tested the beta right now, this is what will pop up when you're going more than 3 cameras. So it basically says you can connect more cameras, but it may have issues with speed, stability. The picture might get pixelated. There's lots of issues that could pop up when you're adding more and more cameras. Plus, it's harder on your device. You'll notice that as you add more and more cameras, your phone or tablet is going to get hotter. It's going to be working really, really hard, which is super fun. What's up, Chris? No worries. All right, so I'm going to turn this off so we don't get that every time we add more cameras. But let's say we're just adding, let's do 6 cameras. Like maybe you're buying 2 3-packs. That seems to be a legit use case for me. All right, so if you know multicam, you know it takes a second to load up, and I'm a very impatient person. So I could be waiting for this thing like Logitech C6 is doing right now, looking for camera. But I like, if it's stuck that way for more than 5 seconds, I just cancel it out and then go back in and reconnect. And it's typically much, much faster. So it'll take a sec to disconnect there. While it's doing that, we're going to switch over to 7. Maybe we're already pushing the network here. Oh, man. Okay, so while that's doing its thing, let's look. So we've got 5 cameras going. There we go. And I have different levels of zoom, and some are using the black and white filter, some are just regular, but I wanted to have some kind of difference because that way you can tell that they are different cameras and it's not all being done just like in software. Because I want you guys to have a very similar experience. Cool, there you go. That's a nice little trick if you're impatient like myself. All right, so now we've got 6 cameras. Again, 480p. It's not that strenuous on the network. As you can see, it is around 8.5 to 9 megabytes per second. Oh, there you go. It's down to 6 there. So as you can see, it really depends on the movement on camera. And I think that if I go over to color, it's going to probably need some more. Okay, so let me make sure I'm getting everything. There we go. Been having a problem with reconnecting non-connecting cameras. Had to restart the camera each time. Yeah, so I would try what I was just doing, just disconnecting and then reconnecting. Usually it does kind of get stuck a little bit. You know, the more cameras you are connecting, the harder it's going to be on the device and the network and the app as well, right? So just do what I do, disconnect, reconnect really quick. Chris saying, tested 6 cameras on home Xfinity Wi-Fi network at 1080p at high latency, had no slow internet warnings. That's awesome. That's what I'm talking about. That brings up a good point too. So I'm actually using an Eero Pro 6, two Eero Pro 6 devices that give me a nice mesh network. So I think that's actually a really good thing to point out. You know, this is very network dependent. So if it's not a good Wi-Fi network, then it's not going to work even this well. So keep that in mind when you're setting up your network. And also, none of these are on Ethernet, and that would make things also much, much better. But I typically see people using this many Mevos on Wi-Fi and not using Ethernet adapters, so I wanted to do Wi-Fi. But if you want that more secure connection, Ethernet adapters are the way to go. So not bad. All right, so now that we've got 6 connected, let's go ahead and should we just go all the way up? I mean, why not? Why not? So we'll go to 1080p high, and what it's going to do here is it's going to reconnect all of the cameras. So as it changes that setting on each one of the Mevos, it'll reconnect, and it may take a second or two. So while that is doing that, I'll try and be patient and let that do that. And answer any questions that you guys have so far. What's up, Fred? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Ryan saying, how can I check for new firmware in testing? One got updated, but the other two are an older firmware. So, good question. So first off, if there is a firmware update, and your Mevos need to do it, the app should tell you. It will almost never just not show up. So check, the Mevo single camera app and the multi-camera app, and if it's saying that there's no firmware update available, then you should be up to date. Or the Mevo just doesn't need it, but you should be up to date. If you want to know where you can check that, it's actually in the About page for each one of the Mevos, so I can actually show you here. So this is where you got your firmware version right there. Pretty cool. There you go. As you can see, we've got almost all of them back again. I'm gonna impatiently disconnect 5 and go back to it. What is up, 5? All right. Gordon saying tornado watch in the southwest part of the state. Crazy part of the year for sure. That's crazy. Yeah, stay safe. Oh, that makes sense. The one that got updated, I was testing on the Mevo app, not the multicam app. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, no worries. All right, so I'm very curious. As you can see, we've got 6 Mevos going right now, and they're at 1080p high. We're on input quality is 1080p high, and it's 30.5, now 31 megabytes per second. So not bad, not that bad. It seems to be handling it really well. So I'm curious, obviously, you're not going to use 6 Mevos pointed at a TV, or it's very unlikely, right? So if you could use 6 Mevos, or if you had 6 Mevos, what would you do with them? Would you do events? Would you do house of worship services? Would you do sports? I would do probably stuff like concerts and events mostly. In the past, when I've done multi-camera shoots, unfortunately, Mevo was not around then, or at least not in this fashion. And so, like, I had to carry around like 3 or 4 gigantic cameras with a mixing board and like just so much gear and so much wires, and it sucked so much. It was just awful. And so this kind of stuff really is amazing to me. Really, like, I nerd out on this stuff like crazy, because this would not have been possible, when I was doing most of my streams. Wesley saying mine is live music and open mics. Oh, nice. I like that. That's cool to use. Speaking of which, actually, let's talk about our host react show because uh, obviously you guys are mentioning some cool stuff that you're doing, and we want to feature that on the show. So here we've got the host react shows, and we're gonna try to do these on a regular basis because they seem to be shows that people really like, and it's a lot of fun. So if you want to share your setup or your just kind of your content and how you shoot your stuff, then send us an email at equiplive@logitech.com with the subject host react, and we will get you featured on the show. We'll review your setups, and we'll try and get you a ton of new subscribers and followers and all that stuff. And we may have some good ideas for how you can improve your content with some gear suggestions, software suggestions for that matter. And of course, let's just go over our schedule. For those of you that are new, we've got shows Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. There are the links at the bottom, but we always push people to twitch.tv/Logitech C because it is so much better on Twitch, despite all the current negative press about Twitch. Twitch is solid. All right, let's move this over. By the way, this is Melon being awesome. I can just move shots around. This iPhone is coming in from a secondary computer, which is also really cool. So normally, this kind of thing would take up a lot of CPU on your one computer. And maybe if you're doing a demo that takes up a lot of CPU and a lot of RAM, then maybe your stream is going to suffer, your image is going to suffer, or you're going to have a lot of issues like pixelation. So thankfully, Melon is able to handle all of this on their website and not giving my computer a hard time at all. All right, let's see. Wow, people just coming in like crazy. Cowley saying storm chasing 4 out for the dash, driver, passenger, back, 1 face cam, 6th. I'm not sure. Nice. All right. So you've got, I think you've got like everything covered there. Maybe you want to have one camera that is like a permanently zoomed in shot, and then another camera is more of a wide shot. I could see that being useful. I definitely like the idea of a camera for your face because people want to see, man. And maybe you could have a camera that's like pointed at your car dash. Like I'd love to see the speedometer. Like, are you speeding up to go at the tornado, or are you slowing down because you see it? That would be really fun to watch. Cool. All right. Chris saying, if we are beta testing the multicam app, are we allowed to post the results in the Mevo customer Facebook group while still making to email the results? Yeah, absolutely. Like we've got the beta posted in the group, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to share it. I recommend it highly. People can always learn from your setups and hopefully do something just as cool and maybe try and one up you. And I'm sure that lots of people will ask for your help and advice too. That's the great thing about that Mevo community is everybody wants everybody to have the best possible stream. All right. Pastor G. Blatt saying, is great for worship services to bring in different angles. Yeah, absolutely. And also, you got to realize, everybody, that we are now have so many options for audio. So right now, I've got no audio being fed through. But if I wanted to, I could have each one as an individual source for 3.5 input. Maybe I could have one that is picking up just using the internal mics, picking up everything around it. So maybe you've got a camera that you want to use that's like close to the congregation or your fans, or even, close to the team, so you can overhear what the communication on the team. So lots of really good uses for multiple camera angles, but also multiple audio sources. So, and of course, you can use any audio source with any video source, right? So they're independent. So you can do like an audio source coming from this Logitech C4 Mevo, but you could never even use that Mevos video if you want, and just use all the other video sources. All right. Alex saying your next feature should be the ability to play video files or capturing PCs, feed it through the Mevo. Yeah, absolutely. Something on our coming soon page is NDI. And so I've really been excited for NDI. Unfortunately, haven't seen that yet in the app, but I know that it is something that we do want to add at some point. And then you can do so much, right? If you have NDI sources coming in and out, that means you can send your output and put it on, screens easily. You can switch computers and use different Mevo groups for different computers. You can also bring in stuff like you were talking about, bring in PC screen, bring in presentations, lyrics, videos, animations. You can do a lot with NDI in and out. So I hope that we have that added very soon. Virgil saying, I would use a lot of Mevos in all cases. Yeah, I feel you. Sports, concerts, podcasts, everything. I like it. I like it a lot. Definitely, I encourage everybody, if you're doing some cool stuff, especially if you're doing cool stuff with a lot of Mevos, then send that in. Let's talk about it on Host React. Gordon saying it would be different angles at live music events. Yeah, Mevos are small and kind of inconspicuous. Yeah, absolutely. I saw this really cool use for Mevo probably like a year ago, where there was something like a Broadway play happening and they wanted to live stream it because it was the middle of COVID and they couldn't have people there in person. And so they had a Mevo that was at the front of the stage on the Mevo floor stand, which, if you know, it's just a slender pole, right? Typical tripods are looking like this. They're actual tripods. Mevo stand is just vertical. And so with the Mevo on top of that, it was almost invisible. Like you almost could not see it, especially in the darker theater. So that is a huge advantage of the Mevos, that they're so small that they kind of disappear. Because you don't want to have like a TV station camera that's like 3 feet long and 2 feet high, just blocking people's views that are there in person, or just carrying it around. Michael saying, is there a difference between the Mevo PoE connector for 149 and other PoE connectors for Ethernet for less cost for them? Would that include Ethernet hub and Ethernet USB-C for all starts? Okay, so a couple of questions here. First off, you do need a Ethernet adapter for each one of the Mevos, so they all have their own individual IP addresses and all that. That being said, it really depends on your needs and the budget, right? The Mevo PoE is really, really cool because it has stuff like the USB-C port on it, which allows you to kind of, expand the capabilities of the PoE. It's not really something that's seen in other PoE adapters, but if that's not something that you need, then yeah, save some money for sure. I really like the Mevo PoE. We made it really cool, and it works really, really well. But the most important thing is the stability of your stream. So as long as you're using that Mevo with something that works really well for your needs, and it's a secure connection, then you're winning. So either one works. Chanked, what is up, my man? Welcome back to the channel. Good to see you. Christopher saying mine will be bands, festivals, and acoustic sets. That's pretty rad. Definitely, I'm excited for your Host React. It's coming up soon, I think. I got to reach out to you about that because we got to get everything looking and sounding good. I wonder if real-time image deduplication could be integrated to lower the transmission ratio. And again, that's more overhead and highly more unlikely. I don't know. I think, oh, nice. Now it's getting into past shows. So just in case you don't have that user test link, there you go. There it is on that stream. Yeah. So sorry, I got distracted there. Yeah, that seems like probably more overhead, I would guess, and I'm not sure how worth it would be, but it's a cool idea. One thing that I was thinking that might be interesting, and I'm curious what you guys think about this too, because this was just this random idea that I had, and that was that if you're using like 6 Mevos, or honestly, if you're using 3 Mevos, it still applies, where, if they're not active on the output at the top, right up there, then maybe the frame rate drops. Like I don't need to see a full preview in all of these squares. I just need to see what the angle is. So if we drop the frame rate when it's not being used, then maybe you can get more cameras easier. Pastor G Blatz saying, been using Mevos since 2017. That's impressive. That's a good long time. Did you start with the Mevo Plus or the Mevo first gen? I'm not sure when the Plus came out compared to the first gen, but Janked might know that. Go sit in the corner, you're late. Yeah, well, that's okay. At least Janked was able to join us, so let's try not to give him too hard of a time. As long as you guys show up, I appreciate it a lot. And if you can't make it to the live show, don't you worry. You can always catch it on YouTube right afterwards. That's youtube.com/Logitech for Creators. Because I'm playing with new toys, priorities. Facts. I am with you. As soon as I get a new piece of tech, I'm kind of like unreachable for at least a couple of days. Let's see. You may not check on your printers either. Very true. All right. Good back and forth. Yeah, Jank, this is pretty exciting. So, we are all going into the office for the first time to kind of hang out next week. So it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's weird having a job where you like basically haven't seen anyone that you're working with except through a screen. But that's the world right now. It's pretty crazy. All right. So lots still coming in, lots to catch up on. While we go through more questions, and we're gonna try and connect some more Mevos. So let's go for a couple more. There we go. We'll let that load. All right. Pastor G Blatz saying, we use Mevo to set up global sanctuary on Zoom. Very cool. Separate live feed through Restream. Interesting. So are you going Zoom to Restream, or are you just taking, like, how are you setting that up? Because I would probably do using something like Streamlabs desktop as the main thing, and then using virtual camera to then send the Streamlabs desktop output to Zoom and then to Restream. Or you could just use Mevo or the Mevo with Melon at melonapp.com, and that'll let you do a lot of cool stuff without the need of Restream. And I think the prices are pretty comparable as well. All right. Lots of That's a 3D printer talk, which is all good. Can I show the final output of the 6 cams on full screen? I can, sure. So let's see how we can do that. All right, well, if I do connection to wireless webcam, then I can pick up my multicam. It's running, there you go, multicam. It's really easy to do this, and then it's gonna ask me to switch my latency to ultra low latency, because typically if you're connecting multicam to wireless webcam, you probably want low latency, but I don't need that right now. So what we can do is then switch camera sources here in Melon. I'll see if I can get everything set up without breaking it, but you know, even if we do, it's okay. All right. All right, so while I am setting that up, I will jump to something else. Wesley saying, I have 6 Mevos. I use an OBS for streaming. Awesome. Are you doing wired or... Oh, no. That's an old question. Just repeated. Sorry about that. Let's see. Efren saying, hi from Puerto Rico. That sounds really nice. I wish I was in Puerto Rico. All right. Cool. Man, I wish that I had more eyes. Let's see. Scrolling. All right. Okay. So Mevo Plus was your first jump into Mevos. That's early on. It's early on. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, James pointing out Mevo Plus launched November 2017. Sick. On top of it. Appreciate that. All right. So now should be able to pull up wireless webcam. This is really struggling, making the network struggle, but that's what this is all about. All right, let me hide this. Okay, so same here. Leave me alone when I get new toys. I feel you. Stream Media, we're the only live stream service in Belgium that uses the Mevo system. Wow, that's crazy. That's really cool, though. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. There's got to be a lot of stuff going on and a lot of live streams in Belgium. We need more Mevo users. You gotta recruit people for us. Logitech creators for creators. That's right. For creators by creators. That's how we do things here. Separate cameras for Zoom and Restream. Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. So you're RTMPing over to Restream via the Mevo app. Interesting. That's definitely one way to do it. Okay. We did. We just crashed the app. Proud of us. Good job. All right. So I'll bring that online. Oh, we could push it further. So if you also noticed on the new app, for those of you that are testing it, it now has that reconnect, which is really, really nice. And hopefully that is what's going to save this demo. Wesley saying, yes, I love the low form factor of the Mevos Start and its internal recording. Facts. Hoping for a 4K or 60 FPS version someday. Yeah, me too. I think that'll be really cool. I think it'll be interesting to see if more people end up switching to 4K in the future? I would imagine so. When I started streaming, we were doing 480p on a very good day. We had about 600 kilobits per second, and it's not a lot. So, but then at the time, that was a lot, right? That was the 4K of its time. And then as people got better and better bandwidth, then you can go higher and higher resolutions. But what I've seen so far with 1080p and 4K is so many people still watch the streams in 1080p, even if they're offered in 4K, which is kind of disappointing. That being said, I think somebody made a really good point. I think it was a couple of weeks ago where they were saying even if you're streaming at 1080p, having a higher resolution camera would be useful, because then when you're doing that crop will be a higher resolution than it currently is. It's a really good call out, Wesley. Stream Media is saying the reconnect feature is very helpful. It really is. It's pretty sick. I'm a big fan of it. Actually, you know what I was thinking we could do here is let's try and mess things up some more, because that's what this is all about. All right. Let's see what else is going on in chat. So I'm curious, for anybody that has been watching the show for a while, has your gear progressed as you've watched the show? Like, if you see us doing something ridiculous, are you like, oh, well, I should definitely try that? Or, you know, have you, like, for example, when I see streams and I see like a really good camera, or a good audio, I want to try it out. I want to see if it's worth it or not. And that also works with just software as well. So I try and do that as much as possible. I'm curious if you do that also. If you watch a stream or a YouTube video or something like that, and you try and replicate what that person has, I think that is like the most fun way to learn it. All right. Cool. Good questions, everybody. Wow, I can't believe it's been 45 minutes. That doesn't even make sense to me. Okay. Now that we've got our demo back, and it's just tons of, so this is the melon output that you're seeing. Oh, let me hear. I gotta switch it back on the OBS. There you go. All right. So this right here is supposed to show this, but it's not. Really just breaking things as I promised we would. As I promised. All right. Jeb saying, absolutely, I will always buy new hardware to test it out. Like, I really want some UEs, but funding there is missing. Yeah, I hear you. These are pretty sick, I gotta say. You know, but they have a whole range of them. There are some more commercial ones that are a little bit cheaper, and then obviously they go up and up and up. But it depends what you're using them for. Also, if you're doing like some music and stuff, it's really worth it. If you're just using them how I use them, which is kind of just to listen to music and hang out, then maybe just go with like the UE fits or something like that. So it really depends. But it is a lot of fun. All right. Oh, I got you. That's what's up. All right. So as you can see, we are back online. We've got some cameras that are actually stuck on some sources there, so we can just reconnect them. All right. So as I mentioned the last show, I've actually been messing around with adding as many Mevos as possible for a long time. And It's really cool. I typically have cameras in like every corner of my home, which is probably a weird sounding thing, but because I live stream constantly, or even I like using it when I'm on video calls. So I'll be on a video call with like a friend or family or something like that, and I'll just be walking around my home switching cameras with a multicam app, and it's pretty awesome. Let's see, Pastor G Blatt saying, can you pull RTM from Melon to Mevo? Melon to Mevo, no, but you can send the Mevo to Melon either by wireless webcam, wired webcam mode. You can use multicam with wireless webcam. There are lots of really good uses, or NDI even, yeah. So lots of really cool ways to use Melon with the Mevo. You could, I think you can go RTM directly from the Mevo as well if you wanted to do that. The problem with using RTMP is that you're always going to have a little bit of a delay, and it's just it's annoying to deal with that for most situations. I would prefer NDI over RTMP anyway. Brian saying, loving the Mevos, 3 Mevos so much that you ordered a 4th one. That is awesome. Congratulations. Let us know how let me know how you're using them. I want to know all the setups that people use more than 3 Mevos for. Obviously, you can do a ton of different stuff, and you can do the exact same stuff that people are doing with 1 Mevo, but better and cooler. But I'm curious if there's any special use case that you have. Gordon saying, I started with a Mevo Plus and added a Mevo Start a year later. Good call. Now I have 3 because multicam supported up to 3. Time to rethink some new possibilities. That's right, man. It changes the game entirely. You know, Joe will tell you, we have been pushing for this for a very long time because you guys have been asking for a very long time. So we want to get all the features that you guys want and mention on the shows. We want to get them added. And so adding more than 3 Mevos has been a huge request. And so we want to keep that going. Chris saying, I went from 1 Mevo broadcasting a single musician in a room, cramming all the equipment into a car, rolling with 6 Mevo cameras, broadcasting bands and events while transporting gear in a photography trailer. Started with Mevo in 2019. So glad I did. We're glad too, man. That's pretty sick. You've got some good content too. So like, clearly you're taking advantage of all of the Mevo capabilities, and it's cool that you've already switched over to 6 Mevos. I'm curious, are you interested in getting any more? Are you 6 Mevos pretty good for your needs? Let me know. Wesley, side question. All questions are good questions. Let's see. Any better protocol with OBS better than NDI? Its auto discovery is great when it works, but it's a CPU hog. You know, it depends. Are you going wireless? Like, do you need to be wireless, I guess? Or can you use something else? Like wired webcam mode? Like, are you within 15 feet of your computer? I guess even wired webcam is gonna be slightly heavier on the CPU, but not as heavy. That being said, like I do really recommend doing multicam to wireless webcam. It works really well. Let's see. Oh wow, just got a reminder on time. Time is flying by. Multiple camera sources equals 5 plus. Yeah, I mean, three is a lot, honestly, but you can do a lot. And 1. So I'm curious. I'm really curious how people do if you connect 6 devices or even more using an M1 iPad. How's the performance? How's all that? Any thought of a PC multicam app? So we get asked a lot actually if there is a way to have multicam on either the PC or Apple computers. We've even been asked about Chromebooks, and as awesome as that sounds, um, it's a very difficult thing to set up and port over because so much of the app is based on like finger use, right? So it's not necessarily a thing that's easy to replicate on a computer, on like a desktop. It would have to be a lot of rethinking, like do you click and drag versus pinching and zooming, stuff like that. It would be really cool, but then I'm not sure what the advantage is, right? Like, what advantage are you thinking of having PC multicam? Because if you have a PC multicam, then you're essentially doing what Streamlabs is doing already. And you're not saving, the workload onto the multicam app that's also on your computer. So you're essentially using Streamlabs. But it would be cool. Ryan saying, I don't think I've ever seen a company so proactive in helping its creators out. And that gave me faith that I needed to join the Mevo family. That's really awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. We try our best to help you along every step of the way. And the great thing about this show is we can not only do stuff that's fun, like what we're doing now, which is kind of like trying to max things out and potentially break things, but we also get to help you out if you have any issues and you need some help with anything, or maybe you're doing a great job and you just want to have a talk about what works well for other people. We're happy to do all of that stuff. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for saying that. Wesley's got 6 Mevos in OBS. Man, questions just flying by here. All right, let me go down to the bottom. There we go. Chris saying, for larger festivals, I would like to move up to 9 cameras. We're working on to secure a brand name, the Big Damn Band, or band name, the Big Damn Band. Nice name. I like it. I definitely need to have as many Mevos as my setup will allow for. That's awesome. I mean, if you're doing 9 Mevos, I'm curious what you're doing for Wi-Fi. Like, what are you doing for the network? Are you doing Ethernet? Are you doing... I think you had mentioned you were using a Netgear Nighthawk, I believe, but I don't know. How's that working with 6 Mevos? I'm curious the kind of range that you're getting. You're too quiet. Give Echo hugs from us, bro. Yeah, Echo is awesome. Echo, I feel like, has gotten a lot better. Normally, or at least in the past, every time Joe had a meeting or a call with us, you would always hear Echo in the background. And Joe was always getting very, very frustrated that he cannot have a conversation without Echo needing attention. But seems to be going better. All right, let's see. Might switch it up to wired Ethernet for anything beyond 6. Yeah, I think that's probably wise. It's hard on the network for sure. That being said, like right now in the demo, this is pretty easy, right? I've got like a static image. This is just the Chromecast screen. So although I am using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we've got 10 Mevos. Let's fix this one. This is at 56.1 megabits per second. Stream Media saying, I will use the Nighthawk M1 for outside. Sometimes inside always works. Yeah, it's really solid. I got to get one myself. There's that 4G model and the 5G model. And of course, why not go all out and get that 5G model? Really just max everything out. I mean, you've got an M1 as well. You've got a solid setup. All right, let's get this camera reconnected. Boom. All right, hopefully that'll load there. All right, so yeah, pretty cool. I'm glad that we basically only broke things once, which is not bad for an app that's in beta, and also not bad considering I've got multiple different inputs with different computers streaming on different devices. It's kind of crazy right now, but it seems to be working all right. So I'm happy about that. So in case you missed it in the beginning of the show, I do want to re-emphasize, if anybody gets 10 Mevos, and this can be Mevo first gen, Mevo Plus, Mevo Start, as long as you have 10 in total, then let me know so I can make sure that I have at least 11. Maybe we'll go for like 15 connected all together. Let's, as a community, really try and push this thing to its limits. And honestly, it's doing pretty good. My phone is hot for sure, but seems to be doing all right. All right, cool. I'm glad that we did this. Next week, next Thursday, this is the plan. So we're going to do as many Mevos as we can again. But the difference is we're going to take advantage of software things. So we'll either be using Streamlabs desktop. Maybe we'll also use NVIDIA Broadcast. And that's how we get that blurred background. But I think I'll use NVIDIA Broadcast to completely remove my background. And then I will use Snap Camera and use AR filters on top of it. So we're going to really just do crazy stuff next week. So definitely check that out. That'll be on Thursday. So in case you forgot, we've got Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Tuesdays, we've got Joe Mevo coming back. So if you missed Joe Mevo, which we saw on the last show, there were lots of people that did miss Joe Mevo. So don't forget to tune in on Tuesday and say what's up to him. He's going to help me answer some questions, and we'll try and talk about breaking stuff more, because that is just always the most fun. And then on Thursday, we'll do that demo. It's always fun to use Snap Camera, doing those AR filters. So definitely check both of those out. Let's burn through the last of the questions in the 1 minute we have. We've got, man, I want a Netgear Nighthawk M7. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a giveaway at some point for a Netgear Nighthawk. That would be cool. Stream Media 5G is not yet available everywhere in Belgium. Yeah, that is rough. 5G is just not, I don't think it's everywhere in the States either. So it's really awesome, and I do recommend it. So when it is available, you should definitely upgrade. But yeah, 5G is worth it for sure. Still 100% impressed with the quality on Twitch. No, I appreciate that. You know, we spent a long time trying to figure out the best quality for this stream, and I'm really happy with this setup, and I love NVIDIA Broadcast. I think it does a crazy good job. Like, even like, that's pretty impressive that like it has no problem blurring in between my fingers. That's pretty slick. If you use Zoom a lot, you'll know that if somebody moves or there's just a small space like between my fingers, like I was just showing, then it does a really poor job with the blur. So thanks for calling that out. I appreciate that. Joe the Man Mevo. That's right. Mevo celebrity. Gordon saying, let's break more stuff. That's right. I'm down. I'm totally down. We sure missed you, Joe. Excited to have him back. That's right. All right, everybody. We have come to the time that we must end the show. But it was really great hanging out with you today. I'm glad that we were able to push the multicam app to its limits, although I feel like we can push it even further. So definitely come back on future shows and we'll try and do that. And don't forget, send in your stuff to Host React if you want to be featured on the show in the future. And all the links to stuff like user testing and whatnot down there at the bottom, the Willow link at Logitech C. All right. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody, and I will see you on Tuesday with the famous Joe Mevo. Thanks, everybody.